Hello, friends. As I have already written in the chat box, our guest is little late today because of some emergency. So we can utilize this time. She will try to reduce this waiting time, not exactly 30 minutes, it's maybe less. So, how to do this? How to utilize this time? Anybody wants to speak something? Or otherwise, I have just one general question, and also one information about the quiz. So let me pick up the quiz first. Those who failed the quiz, this entry is already removed. So please check your dashboard. If the system is showing the pending of the quiz, okay, so you can reattempt, and please please submit your quiz, okay. So far the system is showing only 166 results. So the failed entries are removed. So therefore, I think many people have to resubmit their quiz. So please do that. Yeah.
Professor, I think that announcement is best when everyone is here. Otherwise, I only see about 12 people.
You are right. So I will do it again. Don't worry. So let us utilize this time. If someone is willing to raise some issue or some point. Okay, let me let me begin this. It would be a good ice break. My question is, we usually see the tropical arid environments have more number of livestock. This is a general observation. I cannot substantiate my point with the data, right? But it's just general observation that livestock number of livestock is more in the tropical arid zones. For example, in sub-Saharan Africa. So why is this so? What are the scientific reasons? Please give your arguments or your reflections about it.
It's not suitable for crop production.
Yes, great answer. Okay. Anybody else?
Maybe a bigger population that requires more food, more meat. And so they tend to keep the bigger population is keeping more animals. So inherently then the population gets to increase. The numbers of animals becomes bigger, added to the problem of land not being able to be productive for agricultural uses, as Christina has mentioned.
Christine, I think Christine told about the crops. Christine, you spoke or somebody else? Can you elaborate more about it?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, Christine, please.
A lot of crops require water. And in arid and semi-arid environments, there's not necessarily enough water readily available for irrigation to support really productive food and feed crops. So it's a much more efficient use of people's time and effort to raise livestock that can turn plants we can't eat into animal products that we can. There also doesn't tend to be as much urban pressure, probably in some of those arid, hot landscapes, because people need water too. So if you're going to have big cities, they need to have a water source somewhere. So that is why rangelands are so suitable for livestock production and not very suitable for crop production.
Okay, but these rangelands also exist in not only in arid environments but also in temperate zones.
There can be other limiting factors to crop production: depth of soil, pH of the soil, altitude can be a limiting factor. Like it's not just rainfall that can limit crop production. So it's not just rainfall that determines the rangeland, like you said. But because you specifically asked about dry areas, irrigation being not feasible would be a big one.
Yeah, but yes, your answer is very correct. The question was not only related to the arid environment, it was just like giving a general observation of comparing that the population of livestock is higher in tropical arid environments. So, but it never means that this livestock is not existing in the temperate environment. So, rangelands, whether they are the arid or semi-arid or tropical or other biomes. So, the rangelands are existing even in the altitudes, higher altitudes. So, but livestock population is comparative. Comparative in the sense is it is observed higher in the tropical semi-arid environments or the arid environments. So, as you are saying that rainfall is not only one criteria of this, but there are the other factors. So, what are the other factors you have been explaining? One is the altitude. What else?
Maybe it's also related to the type of farming. Maybe in tropical arid areas, there's more subsistence kind of farming and also pastoralism activities. And the other thing that I was thinking about is maybe land tenure. So maybe it's more popular to have communal land uses instead of private property according to local traditions and rules. And this also enforces a wider presence of livestock compared to other areas. I don't think these factors alone determine a higher presence of livestock in these areas, but maybe, yeah.
You are right. You are right. So, um, maybe the one other factor is the manpower. Like in European continent, if you see, there are the countries where the available manpower for available the labor resources are human resources are I mean declining day by day. So this occupation of shepherding or keeping the animals is declining uh, in major part of this world. So I think this is one other factor. You rightly said that the subsistence farming systems in the tropical zones are one of the favorable factor uh, enhancing the number of the livestock. So it's good. Any other aspect somebody wants to add?
Let me jump in again.
Oh,
Uh,
please come.
yeah, um, I'm thinking in terms of what Professor Abdulaziz mentioned yesterday, which is cultural value. And in this sense, probably for many communities in tropical countries, up to and including African countries, sub-Saharan Africa, animals are a store of value. Since in other places you have probably money, gold as a store of value, and also as a means of exchange of value. Many of tropical countries' people then do get to store their wealth in form of animals. So it's what we used to pay for school fees for, where I come from. You sell some few cows, get some $3,000. You pay your tuition for college and such. So then we get to value animals, in a different sense. That's what I think.
Yes, this is one of the factor, correct? Cultural aspects or the socio-economic traditions. Yes, you are right. I have this sort of experience to share with all of you. For example, I also come from a rural background from India, wherein not only the land is the social prestige. Like, for example, my father was not ready to sell any piece of the land. If I was requiring anything, so he was not ready to sell it out. On the contrary, what he did, because having an apprehension or a fear that once he dies, so I will sell out the land. So he was afraid of this. So what smartly he did, he sold out the entire land to my son. So in Indian system of this
That's
land
nice.
land revenue and administration is that if the landowner or the landholder is alive, cannot transfer this ownership without selling it out. So selling is required to transfer the property rights. So that's why what I had to spend the money on buying the land, because my child that time was like 3 years old, maybe 4 years maximum. So so this whole land was then ownership was transferred to the child. So I'm just quoting this my personal information, although it is not relevant here, but relevant in the sense just to share an experience how the rural people who have created this property, either it is a, a, an agricultural land or whatever it is, so they are attached to it. Their emotions and their social prestige is attached to it. More land you have, more respectable you are in a village. So this is a kind of social security. I think these kind of the traditions are also existing in some parts, remote part of the Europe and Northern America. I have closely seen in Romania, where and also in Ukraine, where these livestock keepers and the other small farm holders, they are very, very sensitive to their land. So they readily do not give up unless they are compelled. So this, I think, this tradition and this emotional affinity is very common, and it's a human psychology and it's human nature, irrespective of the um, irrespective of the continents or the countries. So I just share this example, um, and of course the social prestige is there. So this is one of the factors. Of course, the likewise the I gave you example of land, but livestock is also property. When I was studying in school, I used to be having a livestock. Like my fathers were having the fathers and his brothers were having a joint family was having number of animals for a cow, buffalo, bullocks, the goats, the poultry birds. So all possible according to that environment, the animals were there, and animals were the prestige really, and is also part of the barter economy. Suppose today you want to take help of some animal today for your crop field or for your plowing or carrying some harvested material, etc. So if you need today some animal, so you can take it on loan, and tomorrow you have to give to the other person. So so this is also the part of the barter economy. Likewise, um, so all the, I mean, like these are the factors of having the livestock. On the contrary, if you see the industrial livestock farming, so the emotions and traditions are not there. Simply the production and its economic viability are the main criteria. Okay, good. Any other points anybody wants to share? Oh, Doctor, how to pronounce your name? Dr. Ute? How to pronounce your
Yes,
name?
Ute. Ute is right. You are
Ute.
perfect.
Okay. Oh, we were discussing about why the livestock population is higher in arid environments, vis-a-vis the temperate zones. So this was the discussion, and we have been waiting for the guest who is supposed to reach by now or maybe in 10 minutes. Yes, you want to add something to this discussion?
Why the temperate climate?
You please unmute.
Sorry, I muted again. I can contribute a bit why there are less animals in temperated zones than in dry lands or in more, yeah, even higher and higher altitudes. I think in Europe, I'm coming from Germany. There is most of the land is arable for cropping, and you can harvest, yeah, nearly everything with a good management of the soil or using mineral fertilizer, organic fertilizer. that is more that wetlands might be excluded, protected zones might be excluded, and there's a lot of coverage of forest, which is also protected, more or less. So animals rarely have fresh air and pasture. The system, let's say 30, 40, 50 years ago, there were a lot of small farmers having 10, 15 dairy cows or some fattening, cattle for fattening, but this system transferred more and more to larger companies. It's more going into industrial production. So now a dairy farmer, to be economic reliable, needs about 200, 250 cows, milking dairy cows, so high productive, the most time Holstein Friesian, and also having sheep or goats, which are not playing such a big role. You need some hundred of animals, and then you have maybe pasture, but it's zero grazing. You cut grass and bring it to the animals, and the animals are in the inside. However, there are now modern stables where there's a lot of fresh air. The animals can move around, so the animal welfare and behavior, social behavior, is really considered to have a healthy animal, happy and healthy animal, let's say. So to feed in Germany the 85 million people, you need industrial production and working with high productive animals. So it's more the focus on productive systems, on intensive productive systems. And cattle or beef is playing a role, but I think it's more, I don't know the figures, that pig fattening is another very important industry. Also poultry for eggs, but also for meat. It's more or less all high productive. So you can't see the animals outside anymore. And I think therefore there is not that many animals, but I don't know, when we calculate all animals which are in productive system in Germany and you calculate it as on the hectare or square kilometer of the area, that might be quite a high number, only that you don't see them anymore. But as I said, a lot of land is under cropping, a lot of land is forest or protection to keep the nature, the air clean, but it's also used. Forest is used. Cutting of wood and timber is also productive systems. I think
Yes.
you cannot compare. You cannot compare really the two systems. Thank you.
Yes. Any other person wants to add, please? Because our speaker is struggling with the Zoom, and now I have to facilitate. So please give me 5 minutes, and in the meantime, you please keep on talking somebody else.
Okay, I would like to talk. Do you listen to me, everyone? And I would like to react to what you said before, that in Romania they are very it's very important, the rangelands and everything, the animals and so on. I'm working in Albania, it's exactly the same, and in the old time the shepherds were going up to Romania. Is a lot of links. And in Albania the rangelands, they belongs to the tribe, to the big family, and in any way for centuries and have to be transmitted, cannot be, regarding the customary laws, given to someone else. But now is a big conflict because the government, I know, is the same in the Pyrenees in France, doesn't know the customary laws and say the rangelands are belonging to us. And there is very big drama, conflicts and everything. And I would like to know if in some other countries it is you have the same problems. And this is helping a lot, but also everyone was shocked because cannot be something else. We have very harsh mountains and things like that. But now this factor is really helping a lot, that extensive pastoralism, transhumance, and everything has no other way than to disappear because of these conflicts. And it's totally unbelievable for the transhumant communities to give up this land and to say it belongs to the state.
I'm not an expert in this, but I think probably somebody like Loquar can come in and speak about how the Karamojong gets to either Karamojong or Karamoja. Even Ute can jump in and talk about the conflicts that they face with the different tribes from either Turkana in Kenya or I forget the other tribes in Ethiopia. And as I said, I'm not an expert in this, but possibly one of the greatest reasons are the imaginary lines on our maps, which are called political lines that divided our countries and divided peoples. So if you go down to, in Kenya, if I speak specifically about Kenya, on the southern ends of Kenya, we have the Maasai people. And because of the borderline, the political border, then you have the Maasai of Kenya and you have the Maasai of Tanzania, who are actually brothers and cousins. But for them to cross the Serengeti National Park, the Maasai of Tanzania, to come to the side of Masai Mara in Kenya, that would cause a lot of problems with both the government, the national government, the local governments, and the Maasai of the Kenyan side. Same thing with Masai Mara or Amboseli. If they go to graze on the other side of Tanzania, then the government of Tanzania is going to confiscate the animals and charge these herders. Yet they're the same people in terms of genealogy. They're brothers and sisters and cousins as such. And so part of the reasons, again, I'm not an expert, but part of the beginning of these sort of problems are the imaginary lines on our maps, which divided people. Thank you.
Thank you for your intervention. I think this is very interesting to